Hi, guys. Welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy. Tonight, we have a few cases we're going to be covering. First up, we have the one and only Suitcase Sarah, the Florida woman who decided to zip her love interest up in a suitcase. When she decided to do this, me thinks she should have just packed herself another suitcase for her trip straight to prison. Next in line is Traffic Light Diddy. Well, the case intro. Looks like Puff Daddy is in a bit of a pickle, or a lot. And let's not forget about all the celebrities who are now, I am positive, regretting ever going to one of his white parties. And last but certainly not least, we have the ignorant Gyp Dip showing back up on the internet after trying to generate drama and intrigue by being away. Who even cares about her whereabouts, right? Well, apparently not many do because she's losing followers and interest from the public. But we're going to go on and give you her case update anyway. So I'm going to roll some credits while we wait for the rest of the crew to roll in. Grab yourself some popcorn and get ready for a wild ride through the world of mugshots tonight. It's a carnival you won't want to miss. Guys, welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy.
Carefully strumming this old guitar, words rolling out into the fire. Never ask why my heart burned blue. Here in the haze where you inspire me. Here in the darkness I hear my cue. Time to find some solitude. Here where my soul bleeds openly, deep in the heart of sin and you. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you.
Here in the blue, I'm doing a special Saturday Night Live with you guys because I had a migraine last night. I'm just praying that the migraines aren't back, you guys. I used to go through a bad period of time where it was just a lot of migraines, and I'm really hoping that's not kicking back up. Before we start, Licia, thank you, honey, for the $2 super chat, or super sticker, I mean. Thank you so much. It's really, really appreciated. Who do we got in here tonight? I see Heavenly, and I see Chris C, and I see Hollywood, and I'm not sure if I see anyone else right now, but if you're in here and you want to say hi, be sure to say hi. So we've got some cases, a new case that we're going to cover, like I said, Diddy, and we're going to be like updating on boring old snooze fest Gypsy Rose, which I'm sure she's pretty unhappy about, and she's probably going to be doing something pretty dramatic to be getting attention back on her because, you know, if she was a smart girl, this is what she would do. Like, attention is dying down from her, but she's still got those diehard people that still want to support her. That's not enough for her, though. But if she were a normal human being, this would be I'm sure her PR team is saying, Gypsy, let him go. Let him go. The people that you want to be appealing to will stay with you and follow you. Just let all the crazy others, I'm sure we're being called crazies, people that are talking the truth, or haters. Let all the crazy and haters go. But Gypsy can't do that. She can't let us go because she needs our attention to stay on top. But first, let's start talking about Sarah Boone. I think Sarah Boone is the case I want to talk about first. Let me get my screen ready for you guys. And I think I did fix your crown. I'm wanting to call you Giselle, and I'm looking at Hollywood. I do think I have your crown fixed, Hollywood, and just let me know how it goes. We do have a new Dragonfly of the month. Licia, you are the new Dragonfly, so congratulations. Now that I'm saying this, I think I forgot to change it on the outro. I did it on the intro, but I don't think I did it on the outro. But Licia, you're up, babe. You are the Dragonfly for October. Congratulations. We do a Dragonfly of the month. Dragonflies are our membership subscription over on YouTube. It's $2.99 a month. I release all my videos early to my Dragonflies. I do special lives and videos for the Dragonflies. When I do have merch, the merch will be reduced for the Dragonflies. And merch will be, especially, there will be Dragonfly merch. I just ordered some. And what else? It's just a free way to, it's not free. It's just an added way to help me out. And it's $2.99 a month. And yeah, so I'm super excited, Licia. Thank you for all your support. And congratulations for being Dragonfly for October. If I had to be Dragonfly for any month, it would be October. October would be my month. Or November, because that's my birth month. But yeah, I always wanted to be a October Scorpio, but I'm a November Scorpio through and through. And it is what it is. All right, here we go. Sarah Boone. Sarah Boone is the Florida woman. Oh, also before we go into this, if we could just start that algorithm dance party that I like to do, just start warming up your fingers and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. Helps us dance out into the algorithm there, bring more cool and fun and interesting people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out, and it's really, really appreciated. There was something else I wanted to say before I went in, but I can't remember it. So here we go. All right. So Florida, the Sarah Boone is the Florida woman who zipped her boyfriend up into a suitcase. She goes to trial finally after 4 years on Monday. I did hear the judge say that court would be starting at 9 a.m. sharp, which it's 9 a.m. Eastern time sharp. So for the first day, we're going to cover the case, of course. For the first day, I'm going to come on early so that we can kind of give you a case update. And then after that, I'll be scheduling it pretty close to 9 o'clock. But Monday, I'll be coming on about 8:30, hopefully, if all goes right for me on Monday. And we'll talk about it. Okay, so Defiant Trump. Let me make sure it's up on screen too. It is. Okay. Florida woman accused of murdering boyfriend in suitcase begs judge for professional hair and makeup. So just before Sarah Boone went to trial last week, she has her 9th lawyer. Yeah, she went through 9 lawyers, and she had to do like a handwritten one to get this lawyer. And I'm really questioning, like, is this a real lawyer that she's got? Because he didn't know a lot, and it's confusing. But she did go to court, and she did these motions, and she wanted hair and makeup, and she wanted the interrogation to be thrown out. And they did this motions hearing, and the judge ruled, and this is what she got. She wanted to be ready for her close-up. A Florida woman accused of suffocating her boyfriend inside of a locked suitcase raised eyebrows Wednesday when she requested professional hair and makeup for her upcoming murder trial. I don't even think Lori Vallow had a professional hair and makeup, and I'm pretty sure her family comes anyway. A judge was initially going to allow Sarah Boone, 46, to have makeup applied by her legal team once she was already in the courtroom, which to me sounded like a good compromise. But the motion was denied, however, when the Orange County Sheriff's Office explained that they had security concerns about the cosmetics, which are considered contraband in jail, the outlet said. It sounds to me, it's more like if we let her do it, we're going to have to let everybody do it. And we're just not ready for that. And we don't want to do it. So we're going to call it contraband. For some reason, contraband. Sometimes I can't say words right. Contraband in jail, the outlet said. And Boone was in court Wednesday for pretrial proceedings ahead of jury selection, which is scheduled to start on Monday. She is charged with second-degree unaliving in connection with the 2020 suffocation of her boyfriend, Jorge, and often called George Torres, 42, at their Winter Park apartment. It's in Orlando, so if you can kind of look at Florida and where Disney is, that's where Sarah Boone is. Boone claimed that Torres was unalived during an alcohol-fueled game of hide and seek, while investigators claim that videos from her phone showed that she trapped him inside a suitcase while he begged to be let out. So Boone was supposedly, she was heard laughing. We do have video of this, and I will try to link it somewhere around here after this live is over. If you want to see it, we'll be playing more of it. YouTube likes to strike me when I play that video, and then I've got to fight it. I've got one fighting right now. I don't know if it's going to go through, so I'm not sure. I'm not going to play it tonight. But during Wednesday's hearing, Boone's new defense attorney argued to have 2 hours of interview footage between his client and the Orange County Sheriff's Office thrown out. In the interview shortly after her arrest, Boone repeatedly told investigators that Torres's death was an accident, which was also the legal argument put forward by Boone. But Boone's ninth lawyer, James Owens, I love how they call her ninth lawyer. I mean, it needs to be said. It's her ninth lawyer. Said a few weeks ago that he plans to pursue a battered partner defense. And I know the state is contesting this, but I don't think we know the outcome to that yet. It doesn't line up with her comments in her interview. So Boone took the stand herself during the hearing on Wednesday as the lawyers on both sides jockeyed over what the footage should be at trial. The judge did rule on this, and it's being admitted into evidence. Hold on, I've got this mixed up. Into trial. Diddy wants to come forward before Boone is done. Diddy, go back over here. You're not allowed up here. I've got my stuff mixed up. Hold on a second. Okay. I've got a lot of things up. Hold on. My laptop is really thinking right now. Sorry, guys. It's thinking, do I want to do this for her tonight? I don't know. But Diddy really wants to come in. But we're not done with Sarah Boone. Oh, shit. Okay. I am actually not going to show that part because it seems to be freezing my laptop. But we're going to go and watch a little bit of Sidebar. And I'm going to show you what we're talking about instead of rating it for you.
I'd like to call Sarah Boone.
Sarah Boone, the woman accused of zipping her boyfriend up in a suitcase and filming him as he struggled for air, says her interview with police should be thrown out. She testified in court this week that her rights were violated and that she didn't understand what was going on inside that interrogation room. You got everything you need to know from the Florida defendant's most recent court hearing. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner, in for Jesse Weber. The case against 46-year-old Sarah Boone is finally getting closer to a trial in Orlando, Florida. Boone was arrested in February of 2020 when her boyfriend, George Torres, was found dead inside a small suitcase in their apartment. Boone claimed they had been drinking and playing hide and seek when Torres
I'm going
got
to
into
pop
the
us
suitcase.
forward because she's saying a lot of stuff that I said in the intro.
For interview.
My intention was not to leave him in there. Please understand that. My intention was not to leave him in there.
But you went upstairs thinking that he could get himself
Yes.
out, but the video shows
That's
at
what I
no
told
point
you.
can I see his fingers.
He'll be
it
out here
looks
any
like-
minute.
And then 30 minutes later, he didn't show.
And he's telling
And
you
I
he
didn't
can't
wake
breathe.
up.
Do you
He's
think
not
he's
able to get out.
joking? You told me he was laughing, and
We were
the
before.
video, there's no
When we first got in
laughing.
there, both of us were.
So how long was he in there for? Like, this video is at 11:12 when it starts, so was he in there for like a long time prior to you
No.
recording this?
No.
So it goes from funny to no longer funny,
But
and
I
you're the
didn't,
only one laughing.
but I didn't think that he was like panicky. Like
So pushing up on a,
He was saying he was trying to remain calm so that she would let him out, because I feel like if he like panicked, I don't think he could breathe to be panicked, but he was like, Sarah, honey, you gotta let me out. And she's like, this is how I feel when you like choke me, or I don't know what it was she said, but she tried to get this interrogation thrown out and it didn't work.
suitcase saying, Sarah, I can't breathe.
George has done that in the past before too, where it's just like he thinks that he's woe is me kind of thing, where it's like
Well, he's never been locked in a suitcase.
Woe
That's
is
how
me,
he
I'm
does
in a
that. So-
suitcase.
It's kind of, I thought it was
And
the
you know
boy
the oxygen
crying
or
wolf
something.
kind of thing.
Okay.
And again, my plan.
But nowhere in there is he laughing, is he joking? He is begging. And you're the only one laughing,
Okay.
and you're the only one saying derogatory comments, like you're mad.
No.
Every day we cover a lot of chilling stories, just like Sarah Boone's case on Sidebar and Law and Crime. And it just goes to show just how terrifying and unpredictable the world can be. And it's important to know if you're ever seriously hurt or in
Okay, let's go forward.
arguments many times, saying that based on established case law, the detective doesn't have to say that. And things got a little bit testy in the courtroom.
And again, under the case law, there's no requirement for this question 9. Under any state case law regarding the Florida state constitutional right to not be compelled to testify against oneself, nor any federal or state case law regarding the
They didn't ask her question number 9 on the card that's in all of the rooms. It's the Miranda rights, but they did give her rights. They read all the rights, but they didn't just read number 9, which was like, do you understand this? And her lawyer hammered home. But I guess he wasn't supposed, they don't have to read it. It was just like more of a policy and not a law. So
United States Constitution, the 5th Amendment applied to this state through the 14th Amendment that requires that question to be read. It does not go to the totality of the circumstances of the voluntariness of her waiver of her Miranda rights.
Response.
Judge, obviously we disagree.
Then where's the case that supports that? Because as I addressed previously, I read all the authorities. I mean, State versus Owens, State v. Thomas, Powell from the United States Supreme Court, which reversed the Florida Supreme Court decision. I'll talk about what's required by Miranda. And that question number 9 that you're focusing on isn't included in any of those.
I understand that,
It's
Judge.
the right to remain silent, the right to an attorney before and after questioning. If you can't afford one will be provided to you. Everything you say can and will be used against you. Those are the things that Miranda highlights. That Miranda opinion itself says that. So what does question number 9 have anything to do with those things if the state case law and the federal case law, including but not limited to Miranda itself and Powell, and then the state case law of Thomas and Owens, all of which were provided either by yourself or by the state, identify what's required, and that's not one of the requirements.
She has a duty to read the rights.
But they were.
I want to finish my argument.
Okay.
She has a duty to read the rights. She has an obligation to ensure that Sarah Boone understands her rights by asking that question. Do you understand the rights I've just read? And then there must be a waiver. Yes, I understand the rights, and I agree to speak to you now. So for that to be freely and voluntarily given, that statement, there must be a conscious waiver of the rights. The problem with the detective is she reads the rights, do you understand the rights? And then she goes right into questioning. She goes right into questioning without saying, do you agree to speak to me? Understanding your rights, do you agree to speak to me now? That goes directly to whether or not it was freely, voluntarily, and knowingly given, the statement. and whether that waiver was. So under the totality of the circumstances, I think that evidence is relevant. It's the policy of the sheriff's department. Obviously, she had an old Miranda rights form, but she failed to read what we perceive as a critical question, and she's going to testify about what she perceived at the time that the detective failed to read that question and how it ties into the case. I understand that all they have to read is those four, but I think under the totality of the circumstances standard that this court has to apply, that should be a consideration the court should consider. I know it was an honest mistake. She had an old card, but still, I feel like it should be considered in your decision.
Detective xoxo was the only witness called by the state. When it was the defense's turn, Owens called Boone to the stand and asked her about her conversation with detectives outside her home at the beginning of the investigation.
What mental state did you have at that time?
I was very confused. It was very hazy. I didn't understand the monumental amount of people that were there and what they were doing with taking things from my home. I was worried about my dogs. I was worried about my son. I was in shock. I'm traumatized by the situation, and then trying to focus on everything that was going on at my home. I was hungover. I was still, I believe, intoxicated to a degree.
Judge, strike this is outside their motion to suppress. They have not made any allegations that her statement was involuntary because of her mental state or state of intoxication.
Response?
Judge, we're talking about, I'm just getting some preliminary information.
But
Her interrogation was the next day.
the state has an obligation, and the case law cited by the state requires specificity in the motions. So it's not a game of 20 questions and a surprise.
Okay, this is the day before the interrogation.
I understand that.
We're not talking about an intoxication.
But are you going to be arguing anything in conclusion as to what happened on February 24th led to any coercive or coercion behavior on behalf of the Orange County Sheriff's Office on February 25? Are you going to bootstrap or link any of those things together?
The interrogation in the squad car and what was said to her prior to getting in the squad car that relates to what she said about it being routine protocol, yes.
All right, I'm going to sustain the state's objection.
Relating to the intoxication?
Yes. It wasn't raised in any of the three motions that have been filed.
Judge, I didn't ask her that. She volunteered that.
I understand it.
Okay.
Objection sustained and it's stricken.
Did they ever indicate to you that you were a suspect?
No,
Did they ever indicate to you that you were a person of interest?
no,
Did they ever refer to the videos that you recorded on your phone from the night before?
no.
Boone testified that she stayed with her ex-husband and son that night at his home, then got in contact with Detective xoxo.
Did y'all have a discussion about your phone?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that discussion?
She told me that I needed to come down to the sheriff's department because she was pregnant, and asked me if I remembered about when I was being pregnant, and it would just be a lot easier for her if I were to arrive at the sheriff's department to pick up my phone.
Was there any discussion about you being interrogated at the sheriff's department?
No.
Was your understanding the sole purpose of you going to the sheriff's department the next day was to pick up your phone?
Yes.
And the sole reason for the change in plans from them bringing the phone to you was because Detective xoxo was pregnant and not feeling well?
Right.
So the next afternoon, did you drive to the sheriff's department?
I did.
Tell us, when you parked your car, where you went, what happened?
I parked my car and left everything as regular in my car, and walked through the front door and went to the window asking who I needed to see, and they, I guess, rang them upstairs, and Detective Lowen came downstairs, and I thought I was supposed to be picking my phone up over at a particular window, and he says, no, your phone is upstairs, so we would just like you to come upstairs, and that's where you can pick up your phone.
Boone believes she was tricked into coming down to the police station.
So Sarah Boone's pretty mad because she feels like she was tricked into coming down to the police station. The detective, this one right here, and she was on the stand during this motion hearing, and she's pregnant right here. And we were all making comments like, her baby's 4 years old now. Her baby's starting school probably this year now. And Sarah Boone's been sitting in jail waiting for, anyway. So yeah, Sarah Boone feels pretty tricked by her. And I don't think these two would ever in any situation get along. So it was denied. She wasn't, this interrogation will be included in the trial. And one more thing with Sarah Boone, I thought this was fun, and then we're going to move on. Sarah Boone, and I always like to throw in some weird stuff. And we do have a video where there was a news reporter that went out to Sarah Boone's neighbor's they went out to the apartment complex that Sarah Boone lived in, and they actually went into the house, and I'll try to put a link somewhere for that too. But and it's really good. But this channel, Carrie, I don't know how to say it, but it's Carrie Kuchar Productions. The neighbor actually contacted her, and I thought it's an hour long. We're not going to listen to it at all, but I thought it'd be fun to listen a little bit what the neighbor has to say about Sarah Boone.
We had a surprise visit from a person who actually lived in the neighborhood, the apartment community where Sarah Boone lived while she was living there. And his name is Tyler.
And we are coming to you tonight on Facebook. Hi, Facebook, YouTube. Hi, YouTube, and Twitch. Hi, guys. And I will put the links to everything that we watch over in the YouTube description box. And if you want to watch anything in its entirety, you can just head over there and click on the links, and it will take you. It's for fair play use, and it's also to get you to go to other creators' pages. We rarely play everything in its entirety, and I always speed it up.
Came up and he gave us some really interesting information about Sarah. It lasted a lot longer than what you're going to watch here. We did clip it down. We had a couple of audio issues, but this is a condensed version of that. And, if you're into this case as much as we are, I think you're going to find this interesting. There he is, Tyler.
Okay, I'm trying to hook up my headphones the whole time. I apologize.
Tyler, you're the most exciting thing that's happened to me all day today.
Oh, good. I'm trying. Are you guys able to use your AirPods on here or no?
Yeah, I think so. Just depends on whatever device you're using.
Yeah, I didn't want to put a picture because I just got home and I don't know how some people on YouTube, they take your photo and they throw it everywhere, just until I can get to know you guys more. Not that I'm lying or nothing. It's just,
I love this. He's betting us. I love this. No, it's cool. I'm good. I know I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I get you. No worries.
Yeah, because I always watch your videos, and that one time you were like
in
live.
this day and age, you
the
have
property
to
manager. She was only living there for like a year and a half.
Okay, you know what I thought was interesting is the property manager, I think, said 2019. But I saw on something that it said 2017, and it was 2017 was when her divorce with her husband went through.
Well, so, I have a funny story with Sarah, and whether you guys believe it or not. Okay, so I'm when I was living there, I was separated with my ex-wife, and I was on multiple dating sites. But you guys remember a thing called Live Links? I don't know if you guys heard of that before.
Live Links?
Yes, no. It was a phone call thing.
Okay.
I was on multiple dating sites, and she was on one of the dating sites. I can't remember what she was on. She was on one of the dating sites in 2018 when I was meeting people, but I never messaged her. That's the whole reason I started a conversation with her, because I recognized her from the app.
So you talked to her out in the neighborhood?
I talked to her I probably talked to her because I work from home, and I have my own business at home, so I'm always home with my dog, and she would always see me with my dog. If you guys ever talk to her live, talk to her about my bulldog, and she'll say, to prove that I'm real. So I have a bulldog named Elvis that she would always want to touch, like pet him, but she would always say, I'm scared to pet him. She was kind of odd,
Yeah.
But she had dogs.
So how often did you see her when she was inebriated? Yeah, we got to get you back in an area where you can't lose connection again. When he loses a connection, I can hear his feed go out, like that static noise in the background. Yo, what should we ask? I'm not prepared for this.
To a brief background about me, so I was like an active user of like Vicodin and all types of pain medication when I was living there. So I was an active addict. So I wasn't an alcoholic, but I was pretty out there with my, I'm in recovery now for the past couple years now. But when I was living there, yeah. So that's the whole reason I moved to Utah, is to seek this treatment program. But I was living there.
Congratulations.
I was pretty wild out with my, So when I was on my binges, I would always have conversations with her, but it's funny, when she first moved in, that guy, I believe his name was Brian, he's kind of like, I would call him like the droopy eyes. He was really huge back then, but he was always there all the time.
Oh. Her ex-husband?
Yeah, he was there all the time when they first moved in, because when she first moved in, her son was younger, and I had younger kids at the time, but he was always there doing, I think, the weekends, like all the time. He was always outside.
Ooh, I feel like we're getting all the.
But whatever questions, like I'm telling you, if you guys ever want to talk.
Lord help me, I do love me some gossip I feel like we're getting the Sarah Boone dish. I really do.
Her about me, I'm telling you, I don't know how much to prove it. Like, I don't want you guys to think I'm full of it. Like, I wouldn't waste your guys' time.
I'm getting a vibe from you that you're legit. Is everybody else getting that vibe? I'm getting that because you just don't sound like you're coming on here playing games.
I have
Well,
that
because
vibe,
I mentioned the thing about me being an active user
suck if
because,
he's not being
like I
legit.
said, I was pretty, I was like heavy into cocaine and pain medication, and yeah. So
do I need to run a background check, Tyler?
No. I've never.
I'm just kidding.
Tyler, I'm proud of you. I have no idea what that's like. I know that I smoke.
do like that he's being very honest about that and just staying upfront. Look, I had my own problems when I was living in the same complex with Sarah, and I was dealing with my own shit. So I love that.
And I would have a very hard time quitting smoking. I can't imagine being hooked on a drug like that.
That's the thing. I feel like if you through some shit in your life, if you can just get honest with yourself and then honest with others, you can move on from it. You can move on from it. But until you can do that, it's really hard.
We got a couple of questions coming in. So you guys, if you would please put your question in. Will you put what can we put in front of the question that will make it stand out to me, y'all? We need something so I don't miss your question in chat.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now. Okay. I'm sorry. You were saying?
Just ask the question.
So when I lived there, I was in my late 30s. When I first met her, it was like late at night. Like I said, I was taking my dog and she approached me. I pretty much know when people are pretty much out of their mind or high or whatever. When I first met her, she didn't come across as an alcoholic. She was kind of like, in my mind, I know a lot of people who are meth users. I never smoked meth, but she kind of came across as a kind of tweaker to me.
Yes, she does come across as a tweaker to me. I worked at a substance abuse facility, and she does strike me more of a tweaker, and I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't doing some of that stuff too.
When I first met her, because she was always asking me for things constantly.
Like
she
what?
Asked me for things all. I could probably tell you. Okay, when she first met me, she said, "Hey."
Oh shit, we lost him again.
Oh my gosh, it's always at the best time.
Oh, it's just getting good. Probably asked for a cigarette. We're all going to speculate now.
He probably did ask for a cigarette.
They're all speculating in the chat, Tyler, to use your bathroom for a cigarette.
Or a lighter, probably a lighter. Like if he thinks she's a tweaker, why would he?
Upper. Okay, we can hear you now.
Yeah, listen. She would always start the conversation with me as, hey, can I ask you a question? She'd always say, hey, can I ask you something? And then she said, she'd always say, hey, I get paid next week. Do you think you can loan me $10? She always wanted money she always wanted money for cigarettes. So I'm like kind of a people pleaser. So at first I loaned her $7 in quarters the first time. That's all I had. And then like a week passed and then she paid me back like, I think $6. And then she would always ask me for money or anything like this. I'm trying to think of the one thing that she asked me for. She would ask me for random things like, hey, I'm trying to think. She asked me for a USB drive one time. She was always asking me for weird stuff. But when I first met her, she was never like a.
Y'all are so funny in the chat. What you asked? Do you have an extra puzzle? Okay, he's back.
What part cut out? It's so frustrating because I want to explain, but it keeps cutting in and out. I'm sorry.
You had said something about her asking for a USB drive.
So yeah, she would always ask for something. You know what's funny is as soon as she met this guy Jorge George, then she stopped coming around, period. Like she was never coming up to my house. And the one time she did talk to me, Jorge, or I think his brother, because they at one time lived with them. So it was Jorge, Jorge's brother, and Sarah lived in that place for like at least 6 months. Because I'm very nosy. I kind of like see who's around. I see what's cars around. Because before that Kia SUV, that Sorrento she had I'm trying to think of the car. She had you guys remember those older cars called Daewoo's?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
It was a Daewoo. It was a light blue Daewoo.
Daewoo.
What color was a Serena? Do you remember what color her Kia was? I can't believe. So she was coming to his house and asking for things. That is crazy. And we need to know which brother
type that would
he's talking about that lived there
and just be like.
So the Kia she had was, I can give you a better one. She had a white 2007 Kia. It was an SUV. I don't know the model number. It was a white SUV. It was a 2007.
I think it was a Serena. I think you're right. Well, good for. Okay, I believe you. I 100% believe you. I got a good feel for you.
It was a white SUV Kia, and she had at one time she had a sticker in the back. If you ever look at the back of her car, you'll see the sticker on the lower right hand corner.
If it was mad.
Okay.
So I'm
Carrie
just very
has
like
vetted-
nosy. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say Carrie has vetted you, but I have not. So I'm gonna need some identification. So I could go ahead and put that background check on you, please.
She's kidding.
You know what's
Just go
funny
ahead
when
and
I
put it
first
all
meet
in the chat.
you know when I first meet people, and this is the truth, I always tell people my name is Tony Henderson, and that's the name of.
Okay. So we will be playing more of this on Monday while we're waiting for the trial. We'll pop it in and out. But let's keep going and let's move on to the Diddy case. Why don't we? So the Diddy case, I mean, I'm going to report on this and then like in 2 seconds, there'll be something new because it's coming at us fast and furious. There's something new every 2 seconds with the Diddy case. I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but I have. And so I'm glad I'm starting to cover it now because, wow. So Diddy is the American rapper who is in quite a bit of trouble. Who did you guys like Diddy? Diddy was not Puff Daddy, Diddy, PDiddy, all these names that Sean Combs is his legal name. All of the names that he goes by, I never really liked him. He wasn't one of my more favorite of the rappers. I might personally liked, I guess I was thinking about this. I must have liked the West Coast crew better because I liked Snoop, Dr. Dre, Tupac. Those were more favorites of mine. I mean, hell, I liked Biggie better than I liked Puff Daddy, and I never really got Puff Daddy. Always, I thought he was the manager of Biggie, and he always struck me as like the manager that just wanted some FaceTime. So I mean, he couldn't sing. So and then when Biggie was unalived, I often wondered, did Puff Daddy, Diddy, whatever, I don't even know what to call him tonight, Diddy, I'm going to call him Diddy tonight. Did he have something to do with it? Because I know that I saw a report that Tupac's family, we're going to look at it in a minute, but Tupac's family's reopening up the investigation. Heck yeah, I would too. And I think Biggie's family should do it too, but they probably won't because they were like brothers or something, weren't they? But I really think that they should. And this is all my opinion, all alleged, all conspiracy theories for entertainment and educational purposes only. Not that he can come after me now, but so this is a guide to the many lawsuits against Diddy, and it's on Vulture. The self-proclaimed bad boy for life, Sean Diddy Combs, is facing serious legal issues following numerous allegations of assault, harassment, and trafficking throughout his career. On March 25th, bi-coastal raids of his Los Angeles and Miami homes played out live on CNN while the hip-hop mogul was on his private jet amid what could turn out to be very public reckoning. On September 16, the indictment against Diddy was revealed, and he was charged on 3 counts, including sex trafficking and I picked up my phone, I heard it, and was charged on 3 counts, including sex trafficking by force. He pled not guilty before he was denied bail. He is currently being held in jail awaiting a trial, in addition to an investigation from Homeland Security and the federal government. He is also facing 4 federal lawsuits, a 5th brought in late 2023 by his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, which included allegations of rape and physical harm, was settled and dismissed days after it had been filed. But this was what opened the floodgate. Below the biggest lawsuits involving the Combs, including the lawsuit from a Jane Doe. So this was a few days ago. This was on September 30th. So more lawsuits, I think, have come out, but let's look at some of them. Rodney Jones versus Sean Combs. The lawsuit, a record producer from Chicago filed a 105-page federal complaint against Combs, accusing him and the people who work with him of being part of an illegal racketeering enterprise. Jones alleges in his complaint that he has irrefutable evidence of the acquisition, use, and distribution of some illegal substances. I'm not going to read them. The displaying and distribution of unregistered illegal pew-pews, and the solicitation of minors and for traffic light use. According to Jones, as he alleges in the complaint, Combs reached out to Jones in 2022 to help him produce songs, but Jones claims the work Combs required of him went far beyond producing music. He claims in the lawsuit that he was tasked with procuring substances and soliciting traffic light workers to perform acts and to pleasure Diddy. Jones alleges that Combs also required him to tape these things. And yeah, so that was the first one. It was filed in February of 2024. And a next one, Jane Doe versus Sean Combs. The lawsuit says Doe alleges that she was gang raped and ex-trafficked by Combs and former president of Bad Boy Records, Harve Pierre. I don't know if I said that right. Harve Pierre, when she was only 17 and in the 11th grade. So then there's the Cassandra Cassie Ventura lawsuit. There is an awful video of him kicking the heck out of her at a hotel, but I don't even think it's that's why she's doing it. Her 35-page federal complaint, I mean, I'm sure it's one of the reasons, but I don't think that specific incident is the reason. Accused Combs of assault, battery, and traffic light stuff, and requiring her to engage in forced acts. According to her complaint, Combs signed Cassie to his label when she was 19 and he was 37. She claimed he was physically abusive throughout their relationship, and we saw that video, so we know that's true. She claimed that Combs' staff and Bad Boy Entertainment employees were aware of the abuse. Ultimately, she left her longtime abuser in 2018 after she alleged that he assaulted her in an X way. She continues to struggle with intense emotional distress. I can't even imagine what she goes through. Another one, Liza Gardner versus Sean Combs. The lawsuit says Gardner filed a 22-page lawsuit against Combs and Aaron Hall, forcing her to have relations with them against her will when she was only 16. So then we have one with Joe Dickerson, Neil versus Sean Combs. And in this 22-page complaint, Dickerson alleges that she met Combs after she had appeared in a music video with him while she was a student at Syracuse University. She claims she later agreed to go out to dinner with him on January 3rd. 1991 while on school break during their date. See, this is crazy because like I was in college during this time, and this was the music we were bumping to, and I cannot believe like if you had told me in the 90s that this was going to be happening now and that I was going to be sitting here reporting it to you, I would have been like, I don't think so. But here we are. So he assaulted her. Then we have a Grace O'Mara versus Christian Combs. Sean Combs' 26-year-old son, Christian King, is being sued for assaulting people, battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, among other allegations. So he's gotten his son in on it. I mean, I find that truly sad that now his son is growing up in it. Now his son's doing what his dad was doing. There's Crystal McKinney versus Sean Combs, and I'm sure this was more ex stuff that he did. Says she met Combs when she was 22-year-old model and a designer, flew into New York City to attend a Fashion Week event at, I don't know where that is. The unnamed designer handpicked her clothes, a black leather coat, a translucent chiffon beige V-cut shirt, which McKinney says she has kept unwashed in plastic wrap after the traumatic events. Took some note from, who was it that did it in the Clinton, in the presidential, the Clinton thing? I can't, the name escapes me. McKinney alleges Combs told her that he had power in the industry and she was going to help her advance her career. Later that same night, McKinney alleges she met Combs at a studio where he gave her a lace joint, plied her with alcohol, followed her to the bathroom, and forced her to perform some acts on him. There's April Lambros versus Sean Combs. There's Derek Lee Cardello. There is Dawn Richard. There's Talia Graves. There just lawsuit after lawsuit. Another Jane Doe. So he's in trouble. He's in trouble. Let me see what you guys are saying before I keep going. I want to just know what's being said because I'm nosy that way. Let's see. Heck, even the English royals have them been there. Yeah. Anybody that's come across him is in trouble. If you did anything with him. Now that is abuse, in my humble opinion. He made them act like thugs, look gypsy and didn't. I don't understand. He's ruined so many lives. Yes. Mine too. I figured it was just so people are having Wi-Fi problems tonight. He's always been creepy to me. Yeah, he's been creepy. Hope he ends up just like, I can't see how Diddy's going to make it out of this alive, to be honest with you, because he must have so much dirt because he loved to videotape people. And I don't know, maybe that's the only thing that's keeping him alive is like, he's like, I've got all this stuff on you. And, if it hasn't come up, then just don't let it, you better not say anything or you better not do anything to me because I have stuff on you. I don't know what's like, I'd be very afraid for him. I thought it was really interesting. I found this article on what PDiddy history says about what PDiddy / Bieber, because Justin Bieber was a young up-and-coming musician, and he was sent to PDiddy, and it's pretty widely accepted and I guess assumed that he was abused by Diddy and his people. But I thought this was an interesting article. The problem with X abuse as suspected in the Diddy Bieber case is twofold: the impact and the perpetrator victim dynamic. Hold on, let me get rid of this. I don't know. Okay. Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out. It may all turn into be nothing, but Justin Bieber fans and followers are correct in highlighting this old exchange between the pop star who shot to fame at 15 with rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Diddy was arrested on September 16th on multiple charges, including traffic lighting, racketeering, and X assault. Bieber is said to have been mentored by Diddy, the music mogul, during the early days of his career when he was still a child. The problem with X abuse as suspected in the Diddy Bieber case is twofold: the impact and the perpetrator-victim dynamic. Researchers Carly D. Larson and Jonathan G. Sandberg, James M. Harper, and Roy Bean have demonstrated through their study that there may be more gender similarities than differences in experiences of childhood abuse and relationship quality than previous research had shown. There is an increased risk of developing a variety of mental health difficulties in adult life in survivors of child X abuse. Researchers like Hilberg, Hamilton, and Dixon said, additionally, they said that adolescents who have been both physically abused and X abused exhibited more problems than those who experienced only one type of abuse. So, and I think Bieber experienced abuse at home with his father and things like that. So, academic studies on the impact of abuse aside, there is plenty of anecdotal evidence to show that male victims, just like their female counterparts, are often trapped in a similar hierarchical setup. I can't say that word. Setup, rendering them equally vulnerable to exploitation. Powerful abusers, too, with very few exceptions, are also male. Let me say that again. Powerful abusers, too, with very few exceptions, are also male. The perpetrator-victim dynamic in male X abuse cases, therefore, is to be seen as grotesque play of patriarchy. The victimized male is closer to a woman in this regard, though research since Freud has been done around the emasculation impact of unhealthy encounters. X abuse, it can be safely assumed, impacts men and women almost equally, though the victim's gender may color the perception of abuse. Furthermore, psychologists suggest that it is this different perception that often leads to variated manifestations of the impact of sexual, I said that right out loud. Sorry, I've been so good at it too, along gender lines. This gendered response to the experience of X abuse is more pronounced than when it comes to the parenting experience of survivors. In a 2018 literature review, Joe Warwick and Joanne Vise found that male survivors dealt with concerns like fear of becoming an abuser and physical and emotional distance from their children. So we know that Justin just had a baby, and so these must be all things that weigh on him, right? Coming back to Justin Bieber, the hypersexualization and sexuality, inappropriate behavior, even from fans and media, the pop singer has been receiving since he was 15 is both appalling and dangerous. He has not been silent about his discomfort either. Unfortunately, the only time he got even minimal attention for these violations was when the perpetrator was a woman. In these cases, too, the discourse bordered more on sensationalism, hindering on the singer's appeal. So I know there were a lot of females that were oohing and ahhing over him, even his wife that he has, Hailey Bieber. She was a fan of his and did some disturbing things to meet him and to get into a circle. So it's crazy what happened to poor Justin Bieber. The reactionary backlash against feminism vitiates any discussion on male sex abuse. It's also not a coincidence that most noise around the subject is often in the nature of homophobic generalizations. The reality is that powerful men usually get away with victimizing men and women alike. Men and women alike. He has victimized men and women alike. He has victimized men and women, old and young alike. Yeah. So I thought that, hold on. I thought, this would be a good intro to him. And in light of what we just mentioned about Bieber and all of these victims that he has, I thought it would be good to go into this long crime and look at what his details of life are like inside the violent new digs that Diddy is in.
P. Diddy makes a third attempt to be released on bail, and this time it could actually happen. A new U.S. District Court judge has been appointed to the case, and now it's going to be up to him whether Diddy is released. Meanwhile, he's still behind bars in a Brooklyn jail that, according to his attorneys, has deplorable conditions. We're taking a closer look at Diddy's day-to-day life incarcerated and his road to a possible release with attorney Randy Kessler. I'm Sierra Gillespie, and this is Law and Crime News. 54-year-old Sean P. Diddy Combs is entering his fourth week behind bars, being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. It's a far cry from his lavish life and mansions in Miami and Los Angeles, but ironically, it was the evidence collected at those mansions that put Diddy in jail in the first place. Back in March, federal investigators raided Diddy's homes in Florida and California, collecting evidence in the federal case against him. We now have a better idea about what investigators were collecting, including multiple AR-15 rifles with the serial numbers removed, a drum magazine, and illegal drugs. But Diddy doesn't face any charges for possession of those items. Instead, it was the electronic evidence that led to Diddy's charges. On September 16th, he was indicted by a federal grand jury on charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. A main topic discussed in this indictment was freak-offs, described as elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. And the government alleges these freak-offs were not consensual. The indictment lays out a pattern of abuse that Diddy would often follow: drugging or forcing the victims to drink alcohol that was oftentimes laced with something, sexually assaulting these victims, and then forcing them to have sex with a prostitute. Now, the feds say they have evidence of these freak-offs because Diddy often recorded them. Investigators apparently have dozens of freak-off videos and collected more than 100 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, and storage devices. They allege Diddy used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings that he made during the freak-offs as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. So these same recordings that were once used to keep victims quiet are now being used to prosecute Diddy in a sex trafficking scheme that goes back decades. The allegations against Diddy go back a while too, with survivors reporting abuse as far back as 1991. Last November, Cassandra Ventura, Diddy's ex, filed civil.
I'm going to bring it forward so that we can hear some of his conditions in there, because I did introduce this case already to you.
L. Carter, who denied Diddy's bid for release. He argued the bail package was insufficient to guarantee the safety of the community or to maintain the integrity of the case. Before that, Magistrate Judge Robin Tarnowski also denied Diddy bail, highlighting his apparent anger issues and history of substance abuse. She also voiced concern about a danger to the community or witness tampering should Diddy be released. But just this week, Judge Aaron Subramanian was assigned to Diddy's case. Subramanian was nominated by President Joe Biden in 2022 and took the bench in 2023. Before that, he was a law clerk for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Subramanian's no stranger to high-profile cases either. He's also overseeing the Department of Justice antitrust case against Ticketmaster. That's the case where the government alleges Ticketmaster has an unlawful monopoly on the market. That really came to light after the site crashed in 2022 when Taylor Swift fans rushed to get concert tickets. But back to P. Diddy. His team will make a third bid for release, this time to Judge Subramanian. In the meantime, he's still behind bars at MDC Brooklyn, and according to Diddy's legal team, the jail is notoriously dangerous and run down. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, argues there are major issues with the jail, citing violence.
It's supposed to be the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst, and then of the worst of the worst of the worst. So
poor conditions, overcrowding, and even staffing issues. He also cited some startling statistics. 2 inmates have been killed at MDC since June, and at least 4 inmates have died by suicide over the past 3 years. On top of that, 6 staff members have been charged with crimes over the past 5 years. When Diddy was first arrested, he was placed on suicide watch, which, according to the DOJ's National Institute of Corrections, is, quote, supervisory.
Yeah, I think Jay-Z is shaking in his boots, and Beyonce too.
Cautions taken for suicidal inmates that require frequent observation. Diddy's since been taken off suicide watch, but is still being housed in a protective care unit, actually the same one as Sam Bankman-Fried. Bankman-Fried was convicted of fraud and money laundering last November after the collapse of his cryptocurrency exchange, FTX. They're both in a separate section of MDC. That's a unit for inmates who require special protection. That's people like Diddy or Bankman-Fried who are high-profile inmates, but it also cares for other inmates who need protection as they assist in ongoing investigations in open cases. Now, according to some reports, Diddy has a few privileges that other inmates lack, including access to daily showers and slightly better food. In his nearly month-long stay at MDC, Diddy has had phone conversations with his children and even an in-person visit from his family. To take a deeper dive into Diddy's life,
I didn't realize that he's been there for a month. Wow. I don't think anything's come out about Beyonce and Jay-Z yet. I mean, Jay-Z and him were close friends and partied. And the only thing I've heard about Beyonce is that she was one of the people they passed around. But I just hope not. This breaks. This is like devastating, but Hollywood has to burn and fall, I guess. And this is where it's gonna start. Probably 2024, I heard, was the year that Hollywood was gonna start burning, but I didn't really believe it, but now I do. And I heard 2025 is gonna be even more.
Behind bars and the likelihood that he'll soon be released, we're sitting down with attorney Randy Kessler. I mean, P. Diddy has been in the spotlight for decades. He's obviously got a pretty big bank account, living in mansions in multiple cities, and that's what he's used to. And all of a sudden, he's in a prison that's being described as deplorable. I mean, just that unto itself, is that a major change?
Of course, the bigger they come, the harder they fall. And I sort of think that's what the prurient interest of the public is. Jail is terrible for anybody, but for someone who's used to having people wait on them hand and foot and never stands in line and always, gets front row and gets the best table and gets to have the exact opposite. What a life-changing moment. I mean, it's just incredible. And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent until proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we could debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or get away, well, he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent until proven guilty? Well, yeah, but
listen, if I was Diddy and they let me out, I would flee. I would go underground. I'd go into space. I would do something because he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life, if not dead.
Recognize there are degrees of innocent until proven guilty. When you have this much evidence and so much stuff out there, does that affect the judge's decision whether to grant bond or not? You can't think as a human being, the judge isn't thinking that some people are more likely to be guilty than others. But the system says you're innocent until proven guilty, and it's sort of a shame that he's in jail. And what if he's vindicated? What if he's acquitted? Then how do you ever give him back those few months of incarceration? Just a lot of things going on here.
Let's talk about that bail because it was denied.
How do you give back everybody that's been in jail and got out free? Diddy's nobody.
Twice. So Diddy has been in jail for almost a month now at this point, 3 to 4 weeks. That's quite a long time and quite a far cry from what he's used to. But that bail denial, both of the judges mentioned that he has some major resources, that he could flee because he has the money, access to private jets, things like that. Do you think that's a valid argument that these judges are making, that he could just flee and run away?
I mean, it's a legitimate concern. No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day. Oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes, and sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago, it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle monitor, that if you had money to afford $250 a month for the process and the technical details, you could do that. And I can't imagine there wasn't some extreme, unique situation where they could pay for private security guards to monitor, to report. It's just interesting to me that with all the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us.
It sounds like special treatment, and it sounds like this guy might be like up his ass or something.
We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone. So maybe some solution where his money could help us craft. I mean, he could build his separate jail cell, and we could keep him there. Just interesting to me that they sort of said, nope, you're going to be treated not like everybody else, but a lot like everybody else.
You're going to be treated like everybody else. That's horrible. He's got money. He can't be treated like everybody else.
Just, having money doesn't do it. So I wouldn't want to be those judges. There's sort of a no-win situation for the judge. And it sounds like they're erring on the side of caution. We're going to do what we would do for anybody else, which is keep him incarcerated for fear he flees. And then it's on us. This guilty person or this potentially guilty person gets to go on and live their life because the judge let them have bond. It flips from he's a bad person to now the judge made a mistake. That's what judges don't want.
Just to play devil's advocate for a second, if we're going back in the timeline of Diddy, there were federal raids performed on his home back in March. So obviously he knew about it then. He could infer, okay, they're going to investigate something. And speaking with his legal team, he again could infer charges could be coming down the line. So if Diddy was going to run, he had all the time in the world, 6 months between those raids and then when he was indicted to run. I mean, is that something that his defense could highlight and say, hey, he could have left but didn't?
I think you should practice law.
You're going to highlight that. But that's the whole reason he did it was like I'm sure he was positive he was going to get bail because he did go to New York and he sold some shit and turned in his passport and all this other stuff. And I'm sure he thought for sure he was going to get bail, but he didn't. And I don't know. I think on Monday he goes again to try to do it again. So let's move on. I want to share this. A-list celebrities are horrified over the us tape they're in with Diddy.
And tonight we're going to talk about one of those particular people. He is said to be a very well-known performer, an A-lister who appears with Diddy in an alleged sex tape that is being shopped to the highest bidder. The New York Post is reporting the star is horrified and is, quote, praying this all goes away before the whole world learns his secret. Well, the footage allegedly shows a man who appears to be Diddy having sex with a younger man who appears to be this A-lister. Both faces are said to be clearly visible. The Post spoke with two sources close to the still unnamed celebrity. One said, and I quote, "It's triggering. It feels like a betrayal and a violation, and it's causing a lot of issues. It really brings up some really disturbing and bad memories. It's a total nightmare."
So a lot of A-listers names are popping up. Here's another one.
Yeah, how are you? But you're feeling good? I'm
feeling great.
You know, I gave you the nickname Fairy Godmother because your energy is so electrifying. You're the best. And whenever I see Rita at a party, she's one of the best dancers that's out there. So if you bump into her on the dance floor, she knows how to rock. But she also has a very special talent. Okay? She has, I'm not gonna lie, she has flow. She's what we call, she's an official MC. So Rita, you're gonna show us your skills to help bring some joy to that. A little bit of the skill. That's all, not too much.
Okay, so you know what happened here is, in case people watching don't know, but I had coronavirus. I was in Australia, and when I started to feel better, I thought, oh, I wonder if I still remember Hip Hop Parade. I had learned it for a movie called Boy Genius with Miles Brown. And I kind of wanted to see if I remembered it as like a brain exercise. And so I did.
So we have Rita. And then I just also wanted to show you real quick. This made me laugh. Judge.
Interesting. Wait. There's more. I was reading about the new judge on Diddy's case, and from 2007 to 2023, he was a partner at White Shoe Law Firm of Susan Godfrey LLP. So my natural curiosity was like, who the hell is that? As soon as you go to our website, this is the highlighted case. Why is it all so weird? Why is everything so connected the way it is? Let me know what you think.
Everything is connected and everything's icky, and like there's all these like weird connections that, I mean, how did that happen? And the final thing for the Diddy case that I want to talk about, and before we move on, is Tupac's family hires investigators to find a link to Sean Diddy Combs. A high-profile New York attorney has confirmed to Court TV that he has been hired by the family of rapper Tupac Shakur to investigate a possible link between his Schmurder and Sean Diddy Combs. Combs is currently facing accusations of trafficking and a lot more. Shakur was gunned down in 1996 while driving in Sin City, and his unaliving has remained unsolved until Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was arrested and charged with it in 2023. Well, Davis, the only person charged in it, he previously accused Combs of being involved in the planning. A detective who testified before the grand jury that indicated Davis said that Marion Suge Knight Jr., who was also injured in the shooting, that unalived Tupac, allegedly told people that Combs was responsible, if not directly, indirectly, for the unaliving of his good friend. So he's in trouble. There's an actual investigation going on. And, you know, I think this time when there's smoke, there's fire. And I think this time Diddy's in trouble. He's in big trouble. But I mean, it is the entertainment industry. He could get out, you know, he could. All right, let's move on to Gypsy Rose. So she went off the internet for a little while. She came back.
Hey, you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here with a little bit of a reality check for Miss Gypsy Rose Blanchard. She wants to name drop the Kardashians and remind everybody how she was rubbing shoulders with Kim. So yeah, I'm feeling a little salty and we're going to get into it. So if you're interested, please keep watching. LOL, she does actually like my stuff from time to time. Remember, I was on the Kardashians. And the reason that she's saying this comment is because she shared on Instagram how Kim Kardashian liked her post. If she thinks that Kim Kardashian is a flex, if she thinks that Kim liking or not liking her,
I mean, the Kardashians are probably about to go down with Diddy. I saw a news thing yesterday that Kris Jenner is like in a frenzy. I'm sure she is.
her post is some kind of validation, and then let's go back to square one. Gypsy Rose needs to get off social media and seek help. She is so far outside of anything logical, anything good is so far away from who Gypsy Rose is as a person. She has come out of prison and chased a certain lifestyle and a certain amount of followers and a certain level of attention. And comments like this prove it. Becca Scoops just did another recent video and went into detail a little more about Nicholas Godejohn and how he really did get an unfair trial. And bare minimum, if you are somebody with any level of compassion, you should be able to look at Gypsy and Nick and realize that this man did not get a fair trial. Everything else put aside, let's focus on the fact that
he did not get a fair trial. He doesn't deserve to be out in the free world, but Gypsy doesn't either.
He has returned to social media after a little bit of a weird hiatus. We're going to go over what she's up to and how this could be illegal. Her return post could be illegal, allegedly. And I also want to talk about.
So she's saying that, well, Gypsy, well, I don't know what's illegal. I just saw this just before we went live. I saw that she had posted this. I'm not sure what it is that's supposed to be illegal, but Gypsy Rose did do this weird thing where she went away, and I'm sure she was just doing it to generate attention, but she's back, and Radiant Brent is saying that something is illegal that she did.
Y'all know the drill with that. I want to talk about Nikki first, and then we'll get into.
Sorry, let me get it to where she's talking about Nikki. Or, I mean, Gypsy.
Disclose. And the other reason why I'm leaning towards these items were sent to her is because she not only posted it on her actual Instagram, but she also went ahead and shared it on her story. So it seems like one of those things that, how you feel about it down below. Now, she's also shared over on her TikTok putting together this outfit for Ken's birthday. During showing this outfit, she makes it a point to her
where she starts talking
with a purpose. And the reason I thought this was so interesting.
I'm sorry, you guys. Let me get to the spot.
So if you're interested, you can go take a look over there. But let's move on to Gypsy Rose. She is back on social media, and she put up this post today. A lot of people are talking about it. I was sent it numerous times. And she has this Barbie, Mommy and Me set. And she said, Ken's Barbies. So cute. Matching mother-daughter Barbie sweatshirts, heart emoji, at Show Me Your Moo. We will be Ken's Barbie girls. This company has 681,000 followers. I'm sure that their DMs were flooded with people saying, what's going on here? Did you send?
I wonder, this poor company, if she just bought from them, this poor company.
Gypsy Rose product? Did she buy it? And that's what this is. I have not seen Gypsy really show off a lot of things that were not sent to her. As a reminder, she's an influencer now.
I've only seen her show off things that were sent to her because, as she just reminded us, and as Gypsy reminds us, she's an influencer now.
So she is showing things that are sent to her with a purpose. And the reason I thought this was so interesting is at the top, it felt to me like, hey, this brand sent me stuff and here I'm showing it. She did not disclose that these items were sent to her. She did not say, hey, these were gifted. This was sent to me by this company. So I don't know for a fact, was it sent to her? Did she buy it herself? I'm going to go with it was sent to her. And if we're going to go off of that as this is what this is, she did not disclose.
If that's true, then the company gets what they get. But aren't you supposed to disclose when you're supposed to disclose that it's being sponsored or something
properly, which is against FTC guidelines. Many influencers do this. They constantly say, oh, look at this cute thing. You have to buy this thing. This is the best item ever. But it was actually sent to them and they are not disclosing that it was sent to them. And obviously something else that a lot of people are pointing out is that this item that she's showing is for like a toddler. That to me, it's kind of like, who cares? What I find interesting is that you are literally out on parole and you come out here and you want to possibly not disclose that something was sent to you. Sounds like your PR company is setting you up to fail. Because if
it does seem kind of odd that like But she doesn't care. She's done so many things on parole and she gets away with it time after time. So, I mean, she's not worried about that. And the final thing I want to show that Radiant Brit had up there is, and this is the one that I find the most interesting, is the downfall of the anti-Gypsy Rose Blanchard community.
Be the downfall of the anti-Gypsy Rose Blanchard community. I use that word very lightly, but I wanted to talk about something that has been happening over the last few days. So if you're interested, please keep watching. Was the anti-Alicia Doherty community, and now there's the anti-Gypsy Rose Blanchard community. And like I said, I use community very lightly because a lot of times these creators that are covering this public figure are not commingled or friends or anything of the sort, but they are sometimes mentioned within the same comment or within the same conversation. I saw some of the fallout from the anti Without a Crystal Ball community, 2 to 3 years ago now. And it was this group of content creators that instead of focusing on Katie Joy, they started kind of going at one another and having drama within their anti-community. Now, fast forward current day, a lot of content creators have been talking about Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and it was brought to my attention that Ivory Rose Knows is being blackmailed by somebody that I guess knows her in her real life. Again, I don't know a lot of the details. I just want to blanket statement this so that people know exactly where I stand. Most of y'all probably know where I stand on stuff like this. There is this drama happening within the anti-Gypsy Rose Blanchard kind of cluster of creators. And I'm aware that there is some drama, and I'm also aware that there is an issue happening with Ivory Rose Knows being blackmailed. The thing that I want to say about this, and allow me to say it loud and clear, even though I've said it before on my channel, there is no reason why content creators should not be allowed to make their content, react to things, give their opinions, have a conversation about it, and move on with their day. If they are not doing anything illegal or against the terms of service of said platform, they should be allowed to create their content and we all just move on with our days. I don't understand kind of the infighting and the negativity that can happen within these anti-communities, because what it does is you're talking about this public figure and there's a really good conversation happening. Everyone's doing their thing. We're making content. We're having the conversations. But then after a certain period of time, those same creators who initially might have, liked each other or been cordial or whatever, turn, and then that creates drama and it takes away from the topic that they started to cover, which is, in this case, Gypsy Rose. I don't know a lot about Ivory Rose Knows. I've seen some of her videos. I don't watch a lot of them. I've said this about most creators because I just don't have a lot of time. I work full time.
Isn't she part of the anti-Gypsy Rose community, though? I mean, just putting that out there. I think that the infighting is ridiculous, and I'm just not interested in it. Everybody should be able to report on Gypsy Rose and have their own piece of the pie. It's just there's people that get like territorial over it. And it's like, relax. We can all report on Gypsy Rose. I mean, but I thought this was interesting. This was sent to me by one of our listeners.
There are some women that take their period blood and put it in spaghetti. Why is that? That's because they're casting a love spell. It's a belief among many in the South and from the South and from Mexico to Florida. So I've heard about this just about all my life.
So this is in response to the spaghetti. Remember Gypsy Rose just popping up on Instagram or wherever on TikTok and making Ken spaghetti, and Ken was very uninterested in it. Did Gypsy do a little voodoo on her?
Even as a little boy, that there are some women that partake in this witchcraft where they take their period blood, mix it with the marinara sauce, and make spaghetti with it. Now, males could do the equivalent to Alfredo sauce, which is not good as well. But it's typically strong among women in the South. And it's because they want to keep a man or they want to get a man and get a man to fall in love with them. Now, some may think it's fake. However, check this out. The Bible says that the life of the flesh is in the blood. The term life is nephesh in Hebrew, which means soul. So when a woman does that, she's literally putting portions of her soul in the blood. So when a man eats it, he's literally taking pieces of her soul within him. And it causes him to want more of her, different things like that. Be careful whose house you eat from. You cannot eat from everybody's house. All right? Keep that in mind.
And
So you guys been asking how I put on xoxo?
I am not from the South, and I've heard of this. I have actually had a friend who was a witch tell me to do this, and I was like, I will never do that. And then she told me, well, if you don't want to do that, then you put a little bit of, I don't know if I can, how do I even say this? You put a little bit of yourself, not during your period, on his lips. I was like, well, we're not doing that either. So there are things that women do. They do it. They do them. They do them. And that's all I'm going to say on that one. Moving on, we have our own Chris C, who is over on TikTok, and she has a lot of great Gypsy Rose videos over there. But I wanted to look at I wanted to look at her newest one.
Yeah, you know, this is just the beginning. Life crumble down when the truth comes out.
So we can see Chris C is pointing out, which I think needs to be pointed out. Just before I went live, I saw there's another teen that has unalived, 14-year-old unalived, the grandparent that was acting as a parent has unalived their grandparent. And I just think it's an epidemic that Gypsy Rose has unleashed on our culture, and kids think it's okay, because why not? Gypsy Rose is $1 million influencer now with 10 million people. Why not, right? Why not? And let me see. I think that's all I have actually on. Yes, this is the new teen.
A 14-year-old is behind bars in Florida accused of beating her grandmother to death. Now prosecutors are making a stunning announcement. They're charging the teen as an adult. The horrific beating happened in late May of this year. According to authorities, they responded to an apartment complex in Lauderdale Lakes, Florida, after receiving a call about an unresponsive woman. It was there they met the son of 79-year-old Yevhenia Koval, who said he went to visit a friend that evening and left his daughter with his mother. His daughter was 14-year-old Sophia Koval. According to Sophia's father, when he returned home, he found his mother unresponsive on the floor with abrasions on her neck and bruising on her arms, legs, and face. Police say Sophia told her dad that her grandmother
look a lot like Gypsy Rose. When I saw that, I was like, is that Gypsy Rose? She looks just like Gypsy Rose to me.
Mother had scratched her, so she hit her grandmother several times with a belt to defend herself. According to the arrest report, the teen then crying and said she was sorry for what she had done. Yevhenia Koval was rushed to a local hospital. However, she was pronounced dead. The Broward County Medical Examiner's Office ruled Yevhenia's death as a homicide, and her teenage granddaughter was arrested for the fatal beating. But authorities would unveil more during their investigation. The teen allegedly told someone in the Ukraine that her grandmother was already dying and that she had helped her die. According to Sophia's father, Sophia had recently moved from Ukraine and was displaying behavioral issues, which he believed are from the war she witnessed in Ukraine and being separated from her mother. On the day of the killing, Sophia's father took her phone away to discipline her. And after the killing, the arrest report notes the teen was very agitated and appeared aggressive at times. She was also constantly moving around, and it appeared she was suffering from a possible psychotic episode. So she was Baker acted or involuntarily confined for a mental health exam. But on the way to Fort Lauderdale Behavioral Health Center, Koval allegedly made spontaneous utterances that she killed her grandmother. According to NBC6 in South Florida, a redacted source in the arrest report said Sophia had never been diagnosed with a mental illness, but was showing signs of aggression and being agitated. The 14-year-old was also not eating or sleeping. That source also reportedly believed the teen may have used her grandmother's walker to hit her because they noticed a piece of the walker was broken. Then this Tuesday, another twist. Prosecutors formally filed the manslaughter charge against Sophia and moved her from juvenile detention to the Broward County Jail, where she'll be held in protective custody. A judge ordered she be held without bond. In Florida, the maximum sentence for manslaughter is 15 years in prison if she's convicted, but the 14-year-old could be sentenced to juvenile sanctions. The state attorney's office released a statement saying, quote, in the juvenile system, anyone found guilty and sentenced would have to be released after a maximum of 3 years and could only be kept under supervision in the community until age 21. Because she is not a U.S. citizen, she could be subject to deportation.
We have a lot to break down in this case, so here joining me to discuss it further is attorney Melba Pearson. Melba, always great to have you on. This story, like so many others that we cover here, is very horrific and shocking. A teenager accused of killing her grandmother, but she's no longer facing second-degree murder. Instead, it's manslaughter, but she's being charged as an adult. What's your reaction to this case and your thoughts on her being tried as an adult?
Yeah, so thank you again for having me on. And this is actually another one of those cases that's literally in my backyard. I live in Miami.
So it's another Florida case, a crazy Florida case, and we'll be keeping an eye on it, of course. So, that's all I have, but I do want to talk to you about one or two things before I go. Let me find what I wanted to say. Licia is the dragonfly for October. I've already said that. October 7th at 9 a.m. Sarah Boone case starts. I wanted to ask you, I used to have a, what was it called? It was one of those old sites. It was only it was a board type site, but it was a lean and luscious kitchen witchery group. And I did an ornament exchange every year where obviously you have to have 5 people, but at least 5 people. I would have somebody hand make 5 ornaments and send them to me. And 5 people, 6, how many people want to be in it? And then I, mix them up and I send you back 5 handmade ornaments from different people. And they would send $5. But now that it's like the mail is different, I would probably do more like $10. So 5 ornaments and $10, and then you would get 5 handmade ornaments back. Is that anything that you guys would be interested in? I want to do something for the holidays, but I'm not really sure yet. I'm just trying to figure out, is that anything you guys would want to do? I really liked it because you would get new ornaments for your tree and whatnot. But yeah, let me see what you guys are saying. Absolutely. 81. She was 81 years old. Yeah, she was really old. That poor lady. She was really old. So I'll do a poll later and see. But I'm thinking I'm kind of like batting that around in my head and just trying to figure out what to do for the holidays. Okay, guys, I am going to call it a night. I've got a little palate cleanser for us to go out on. I think it's important for all of us when we're consuming this true crime content to consume other content that brings us up and makes us a little happy. So here is a little palate cleanser as I go out. If nobody's told you this today, I'm telling you this. And thank you so much, actually. Thank you so much, Chris C. and Heaven Lee, for helping me with my research tonight and being the best wrenches. If you guys could send some healing and love and prayers towards our other wrench, Laura Lynn, that would be wonderful. And Pauline too. She's not a wrench, but she's a viewer, and they're both healing from things, and we want to speed that up. So if you could do that, that would be great. And guess what? If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you this. I love you guys so, so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Journey, what are you?
A fish.
Oh yeah? What are,
Fish.
oh, are you a wicked witch? Huh?
Good witch or wicked?
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
A bad bitch.
A bad witch.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy.
Carefully strumming this old guitar, words rolling out into the fire. Never ask why my heart burned blue. Here in the haze where you inspire me. Here in the darkness I hear my cue. Time to find some solitude. Here where my soul bleeds openly, deep in the heart of sin and you. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you. Carefully strumming this old guitar again.